ෆන් එක next level කරන dialogue fan blaster.
Tonight, on First at 9 this Friday the 13th of December 2024. No exceptions. Wrongdoers will be punished regardless of stature, warns the President. Tackling corruption. Canada to give technical and strategic support towards Sri Lanka's anti-corruption drive. Doctorate questioned. Speaker of Parliament Ashoka Ranwala resigns amid controversy over authenticity of his doctorate. Undeterred, Sri Lanka will continue Adani container terminal project despite US allegations against the group, affirms Sports Minister. Stocks gain again. CSE main index hits new all-time high today.
Chilo Dairy, Sri Lankawama Kiren Perata. ඔබේ විශ්වාසය දෙනු සෙන්සුරයින් දැන් ළඟමැති ෆාමසියෙන් ලබාගත හැක.
කට්ට පරිස්සම් කරගත්තොත් අපි පරිස්සම්.
Asian Paints Causeway Aquasafe වැස්සත් මට්ටුයි ගෙදරත් තිස්නේ.
From Derana, this is Derana First at 9. Live from Studio 24 in Colombo.
Good evening and welcome to tonight's edition of Derana First at 9. I'm Tharindu Mahendra, joining you live with the latest in Sri Lanka and from around the world. In your top story this evening, President Anura Dissanayake pledges that any person found to have committed a wrongdoing, even members of the government, will be punished regardless of their position or status. Speaking during a meeting with heads of state media institutions, the head of state assured that the NPP government will not commit any action that would undermine the people's mandate or trust. The president went on to say that the government's respect for the mandate must not be limited to statements but be reinforced through action.
President Anura Dissanayake held a discussion with the heads of state media institutions earlier this morning.
දශක 7කට වඩා වැඩි කාලයක් අපේ රටේ ජනතාව විවිධ ආණ්ඩු පෙරළුවා විවිධ ආණ්ඩු පිහිටුවා.
For over 7 decades, the people of our country have built and dismantled various governments. Each time a new government was established, people harbored optimistic expectations. However, instead of fulfilling those expectations, the governments that assumed power ignored them in order to fulfill their personal agendas. During the last presidential and parliamentary elections, the people granted us a mandate to oppose the political culture that prevailed in the country and establish a new one. Therefore, we are obligated to uphold the mandate of the people who placed their trust in us. We will never let anything undermine it. If any person anywhere in the country commits a wrongful act, we will not hesitate to take action against them. Not only that, if any member of our government of any status commits an offence, we will not hesitate to take action against that wrongdoing. That is our obligation to this mandate. However, we will not rush to take such decisions. We will take the time necessary to reach the correct decision, because if we undermine the people's mandate or their trust in us at the moment, there is no other political movement in the country that is capable of rebuilding that trust or giving the people hope. Therefore, we must reaffirm our commitment to protecting the people's trust in us. Our respect and adherence to the mandate must not only be expressed through our statements, but must be proven through our actions. Therefore, if any person has committed an offence, we will not hesitate to take the correct action against it, as we are obligated to do so.
Union Assurance.
Welcome to Cinnamon Life, South Asia's biggest entertainment hub, where awe awaits.
චන්දුරුසුමේ කාගෙත් මන අපේ සිග TV සඳහා සුපිරි ඩීල්.
Sadaharita Plantations Limited, celebrating 22 years of your trust.
Aspirations Education, a pioneer in overseas education. Meet our experts at top destinations worldwide. Your trusted and caring partner in overseas education.
High Commissioner of Canada to Sri Lanka and the Maldives, Eric Walsh, while commending the government's efforts to tackle corruption and fraud, expressed Canada's willingness to offer technical and strategic support to aid Sri Lanka in achieving its anti-corruption goals. Meanwhile, the ambassador of the United Arab Emirates to Sri Lanka, Khalid Nasser Al Ameri, stated that the UAE plans to expand its investments in Sri Lanka and share expertise in digitalization and modern technology.
During a meeting with the Secretary to the President, Dr. Nandika Sanat Kumar Nayaka, at the Presidential Secretariat yesterday, the High Commissioner of Canada to Sri Lanka and the Maldives, Eric Walsh, stated that the Canadian government has expressed its strong commitment to supporting Sri Lanka's efforts to tackle corruption and fraud. High Commissioner Walsh also highlighted Canada's willingness to offer technical and strategic support to aid Sri Lanka in achieving its anti-corruption goals. Further, he emphasized the impact of Sri Lanka's political culture on its economic issues and praised the government's reform efforts as a step towards sustainable development and better governance. Meanwhile, another meeting was held yesterday between the ambassador of the United Arab Emirates to Sri Lanka, Khalid Nasser Al Ameri, and President Anura Dissanayake at the Presidential Secretariat. Ambassador Al Ameri stated that the UAE has pledged support to Sri Lanka's development efforts and underscored that the Emirates plans to increase investments in Sri Lanka and share expertise in digitalization and modern technology. Both parties discussed expanding employment opportunities for Sri Lankans in the UAE and explored ways to boost trade between Sri Lanka and the United Arab Emirates, which is the island nation's sixth largest export market.
Speaker of Parliament Ashoka Ranwala resigned from his position today amid the controversy surrounding the authenticity of his doctorate. The resignation came as the Samagi Jana Balawega parliamentary group led by opposition leader Sajith Premadasa commenced signing of a motion of no confidence against the Speaker. Against a backdrop where Speaker of Parliament Ashoka Ranwala has been facing scrutiny regarding the authenticity of his doctorate, the parliamentary group of the Samagi Jana Balawega led by opposition leader Sajith Premadasa commenced signing a motion of no confidence against the Speaker. However, in the wake of the controversy surrounding his educational qualifications, Speaker of Parliament Ashoka Ranwala resigned from his position with immediate effect today. In a statement, Ranwala said that although he has not made any false assertions regarding his educational qualifications, he is resigning due to the lack of relevant documents required to prove the authenticity of his doctorate. Meanwhile, the United National Party together with the New Democratic Front have decided to submit a proposal to Parliament recommending the appointment of a committee to probe into the educational qualifications of ministers and MPs representing the ruling party, the National People's Power. Further, several concerns have been raised regarding the professional qualifications of Deputy Speaker of Parliament Rizvi Sali. The National People's Power in its official website has mentioned Deputy Speaker Sali as a consultant physician. However, allegations are directed at Sali accusing him of using the designation of consultant physician despite only being a general practitioner. Responding to the allegations, Deputy Speaker Sali took to Facebook and clarified that he holds an MBBS degree from Nishta Medical College in Multan, Pakistan and a diploma in laryngo-otorhinology from the University of Colombo. In the meantime, the Department of Communications of the Parliament noted that including the designation doctor in Minister of Justice Attorney at Law Harshana Nanakara's profile on the Parliament website was an oversight.
Fast track your career from O-levels with eSoft.
Diabetes all සීනි වලින් පරිස්සම් වන ඔබට අමතක නොවන පෝෂණය.
Prime Group ලංකාවේ ප්‍රථම වතාවට හඳුන්වා දෙන land leasing ලේසියෙන් මීටමක්.
Single 1111 up to 60% off from the 11th November to the 17th of November.
Kalani wire කිසිගින්නක් නෑ.
කිසිගින්නක් නෑ. Kalani Fire Shield Wire.
Minister of Transport, Highways, Ports and Civil Aviation Bimal Ratnaik assures that India's Adani Group-backed Colombo West International Terminal construction project will continue despite US charges levelled against its founder. The Adani Group on Wednesday said the West Container Terminal is on schedule for completion by early next year. Meanwhile, the Colombo East Terminal is to be completed by June 2025, according to the minister.
Ports Minister Bimal Ratnaik undertook an inspection of the port of Colombo last night.
We aim to conclude the construction of the East Container Terminal by the 30th of June next year and commence operations. Once operational, we will be able to increase container throughput by twofold. There are some operations that should have been developed. Certain aspects of the Jaya Container Terminal that should have been developed had been overlooked. We expect to commence operations of 2 new jetties at the port by mid-next year. We expect a major contribution to the economy with that.
Meanwhile, speaking to AFP, the minister assured that the Colombo Port West International Terminal project, undertaken by India's Adani Group, will continue despite US charges against its founder Gautam Adani and sudden changes to its financing. India's Adani Group holds a 51% stake in Sri Lanka's West Container Terminal, while Sri Lankan conglomerate John Keel's Holdings owns 34% and the rest is held by state-run Sri Lanka Ports Authority. The United States Department of Finance Corporation last year said it would finance the $700 million project through a $533 million loan. However, this week, India's Adani Ports and Special Economic Zone Limited said it withdrew the request for financing from the DFC but noted that the project will be financed through the company's internal accruals and capital management plan. Adani's decision to withdraw a request for financing from the DFC follows a New York indictment last month where US authorities accused Adani Group chairman Gautam Adani and 7 others of being part of a $265 million scheme to bribe Indian officials and of misleading US investors while raising funds there. According to the company, the project remains on schedule and is expected for commissioning by early next year.
Australian High Commissioner to Sri Lanka Paul Stevens reiterated that combating maritime security is a crucial component of the bilateral relationship between Sri Lanka and Australia and vowed to assist Sri Lanka in enhancing the country's sovereign capabilities. As part of further bolstering bilateral ties, the Australian High Commissioner further pledged to provide training and education opportunities to ensure maritime security. Speaking at the same event, Commander of the Sri Lanka Air Force, Air Marshal Udeni Rajapaksha, affirmed readiness in ensuring maritime security in the Indian Ocean and reiterated the commitment of the Air Force to ensure that the Indian Ocean remains a place of peace and security.
An event to mark the ceremonial gifting of a Beechcraft King Air 350 aircraft to the Sri Lanka Air Force was held last morning at the Ratmalana Air Force Base. The former Royal Australian Air Force aircraft was gifted to the Sri Lankan Air Force by the Australian Border Force. Legally handed over to the Sri Lanka Air Force in late October, the modern twin-engine turboprop aircraft will substantially enhance Sri Lanka's aerial maritime surveillance capabilities to combat transnational crime, including people smuggling.
This latest edition of Beech King Air 350 aircraft to the Sri Lanka Air Force No. 3 Maritime Squadron will bolster our surveillance, reconnaissance and patrolling for the protection of our seas. I'm confident that the synergistic efforts of the two nations would promote and further strengthen the collective security architecture in the Indian Ocean region. This is the beginning of a new chapter in the enduring friendship between Sri Lanka and Australia. And we will ensure that the Indian Ocean remains a place of peace, security and prosperity.
The induction of this platform to the Sri Lanka Air Force is not just about acquiring new hardware. It's about elevating our capabilities, our readiness and our commitment to regional peace and stability. It aligns perfectly with Sri Lanka's vision of becoming a key contributor to maritime security in the Indian Ocean region.
Together, we will stop anyone involved in illegal activities. Collectively, we are stronger. I'm a firm believer in investing in our people. That is why it is fulfilling for us today to be able to contribute to the training and the development of the next generation of Sri Lankan aviators as they acquire new skills via this significant asset.
This King Air 350 will stand as a testament to and a symbol of the strength of the bilateral partnership between Australia and Sri Lanka. Our cooperation in maritime security is an integral part of our overall bilateral relationship, but Australia and Sri Lanka also enjoy close ties across a range of other areas. Australia sees itself as a partner of trust and a partner of choice for Sri Lanka. In 2025, we will continue this support and cooperation through the provision of hydrographic equipment to Sri Lankan Navy, which will uplift Sri Lanka's sovereign capability to map its ocean floor, and we will continue to provide training and education opportunities, including an Indian Ocean maritime security program which will be held at the Australian National University in Canberra.
President Anura Dissanayake is scheduled to visit India from the 15th to the 17th of December this year, marking his first official state visit since assuming the presidency. Sri Lanka's Ministry of Foreign Affairs in a statement noted that the state visit is being undertaken at the invitation of Indian President Draupadi Murmu. Meanwhile, India's External Affairs Ministry said President Dissanayake is expected to meet Indian President Draupadi Murmu and hold discussions with Prime Minister Narendra Modi on bilateral, regional and international issues of mutual interest. It added that President Dissanayake will also attend a business event in New Delhi and thereafter visit Bodh Gaya. Now, 116 personnel who were attached to the security detail of former President Mahinda Rajapaksa were relieved of their duties today. The move follows the government's recent decision to reduce the strength of former President's security details to 60 personnel. Accordingly, the security details of former Presidents Chandrika Bandaranaike Kumaratunga, Maithripala Sirisena, Gotabaya Rajapaksa and Ranil Wickremesinghe have also been reduced to 60 personnel. Responding to an inquiry by Ada Derana, Deputy Minister of Public Security and Parliamentary Affairs Sunil Vatagala stated that security details have been assigned to former presidents commensurate with the assessment of the threats against them. The owner of the gold marbles of the Lanka T10 Super League has been arrested over allegations of match fixing. Meanwhile, the former director of the Colombo Crimes Division, ASP Neville De Silva, who was arrested earlier this week, was further remanded until the 20th of December. And with that, here's a look at more local news across the island in brief. Kahatuduwa police arrested 6 individuals, including an elderly couple, in possession of over a kilogram of crystal methamphetamine and 835 grams of heroin. It was reported that the stock of narcotics has a street value of around 40 million rupees. In the meantime, the former director of the Colombo Crimes Division, Assistant Superintendent of Police Neville De Silva, was further remanded until the 20th of December upon orders of the Ratnapura Magistrates Court. The former director of the CCC was arrested on the 9th of December after allegedly showing bias towards a complainant while investigating a case filed before the Colombo Crimes Division. In other local news, the owner of the gold marbles of the Lanka T10 Super League was arrested yesterday over allegations of match fixing. The team's owner, an Indian national, was arrested at the Pallekele International Cricket Stadium for allegedly approaching a player to fix matches. The arrestee was produced before the Colombo Magistrates Court today and was placed under remand custody until the 16th of December. Meanwhile, the Fraud Investigation Bureau informed the Colombo Magistrates Court today that an investigation has commenced into several presidential election candidates and their representatives who have failed to submit proper expense reports as mandated under the Regulation of Election Expenditure Act. The Bureau presented facts before the court today in relation to 7 complaints filed by the Election Commission regarding non-compliance with the Election Expenditure Act. The Bureau officials explained that under the Regulation of Election Expenditure Act No. 3 of 2023, all candidates and their representatives were required to submit detailed reports on their election-related expenses to the Election Commission by the 13th of October. However, the Bureau revealed that some candidates and their representatives are yet to submit the required reports, which constitutes a violation of the law. The officials informed the court that investigations have commenced based on the complaints made by the Election Commission and requested the court to set a date to report on the progress of the investigations. Considering the facts presented, the Colombo Magistrates Court ordered the Fraud Investigation Bureau to conduct a thorough investigation and submit a progress report on the 14th of March. Welcome back. Now in business news, new members were appointed to the Port City Economic Commission by President Anura Dissanayake today. President's Counsel Harsha Amarasekara was appointed as chairman of the Port City Economic Commission. The other members are Damien Amal Cabral, Mohanre Abewardana, Sanjay Kulatunga and Dr. Harsha Subasinghe. The official letters of appointment were handed over to the new members by Secretary to the President, Dr. Nandika Sanath Kumar Naik, at the Presidential Secretariat in Colombo today. Meanwhile, the Export Development Board has revealed that inadequate packaging is a major cause of significant post-harvest losses in the country. The EDB noted that post-harvest losses significantly affect 20 to 30% of vegetables and 15 to 20% of fruits. The trade body had conducted an awareness session on the packaging solutions for vegetables and fruits sector. About 70 exporters and potential exporters were given knowledge on innovative packaging solutions to enhance the value of export products. The session was conducted in collaboration with packaging experts from the industry and the National Plant Quarantine Service. The Colombo Bourse continued its strong bullish momentum driven by robust participation from both retail and high net worth investors. The main index hit a new high of 14,205, gaining 170 points. Almost every sector experienced price gains, with investor sentiment particularly focused on the banking, food, beverage and tobacco and selected construction sector counters. Singer, Meltcorp, HNB, Central Finance Company and Sampath emerged as the top positive contributors to the index. With multiple off-board transactions and increased participation from retail investors, turnover stood at 6.1 billion rupees, 40.3% higher than the monthly average. Capital goods led the turnover by 25%, followed by banking and food, beverage and tobacco sectors, jointly contributing 40% of turnover. Foreign investors remained net buyers with inflow of 126.4 million. And with that, here's a look at the rupee exchange rate for the day. And with that, we wrap up tonight's edition of First at 9. Thank you for joining and have a good night.